Hello everybody, welcome back to brand new iRacing AI NASCAR career mode here on the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we are continuing our career mode here in the middle of the West Coast swing, fresh off of a bit of a rough event in California, and now we are headed on a road trip actually over to Las Vegas Motor Speedway as we're going to fast forward to the weekend. The team might have flown to Las Vegas Motor Speedway, but I actually went on a personal road trip to Las Vegas from Fontana, California here. As you can see, we were rolling up now on Las Vegas and actually pulled into the Mandalay Place here, into the beautiful parking lot now. But it was ready to get this race weekend underway here from this luxurious Las Vegas city, as well as you can see just the sights here. It was a bit of an overcast weekend actually. It was sunny when we rolled in to Vegas, but the rest of the weekend was this right here. It was a very overcast weekend, so not necessarily the ideal, conditions here to be staying in Las Vegas. We're hoping for a nice sunny weekend. We are not going to get that lucky here, but it was nonetheless ready to do some practice here on Friday from this Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Next episode, by the way, we will also be jumping into some more recaps on Xfinity as well as the Truck Series. We're trying to keep up with those. We're not going to be showing the trucks and Xfinity races every episode, but like I said, we're going to try and give recaps on them, and we will be showing them periodically throughout the season. Race weekend number 3, another paint scheme, a third new scheme. There you see the Monster Menards machine there. Monster has hopped on board to be a primary for a few select races this season, and who knows, if we impress enough with Wood Brothers, we could take this sponsor to potentially a 4th Penske car next season. There's a lot of talks already in the works here of trying to secure our future in our Cup Series career going into that next season of season 2. Now, as practice, it went really quick. It was really smooth actually. I didn't really want to do anything to the car, so I was in and out pretty quick. As you can see, the top 10 in practice on your screen now, and it was already time to head into qualifying here from this Las Vegas Motor Speedway now, as we had a 2-lap little sprint. The top leaderboard was a little bit messed up right here. It was messed up through all of qualifying, but it was corrected for the race. But it was currently Denny Hamlin on pole, and then as I'm coming through 3 and out of turn 4 here on my final lap in qualifying, we would improve. It was currently P26, but overall wasn't the best lap there, as you can see on your screen there with the ending order. P26 for us, so it's going to be a bit of a work to be done kind of scenario here, especially in stage 1. And let's send it over for the pre-race though to Alan Bailey.
NASCAR is in Sin City for the 3rd race of the season. I'm Alan Bailey with live coverage on ARN. It's been all Hendrick Motorsports so far this season, with Chase Elliott winning the Daytona 500, William Byron winning just last weekend in Fontana, and this week the series finds the Cup Series about 15 miles north of the Las Vegas Strip. Fans love this track with popular neon garage that's known for putting the fans on top of the garage area. We could see some drivers gamble on tires to get the win, and can Hendrick Motorsports make it 3 wins in a row? Let's find out.
Alright boys, we know what to do today. First 2 races of the season have gone both ways, so let's hope for a top 10 today. We got some work to do, but we can make it happen. You hear myself on the radio and you heard Alan Bailey's pre-race intro. Can we get a massive W in the comments section for Alan Bailey, who's absolutely popping off on these race intros? You'll hear him throughout the race again here today's episode. He's been doing a fantastic job. Massive shout out and thank you to Alan here as we are ready to go green for race number 3 of the season. Race 1, race 2 have been won by 2 Hendrick drivers. The Daytona 500, Chase Elliott, William Byron in Auto Club. This time, could it be somebody else other than Hendrick Motorsports? Could it be the pole winner of Denny Hamlin, who's being chased by Ross Chastain? Those two love each other here as we exit turn 2 down the back straightaway. You can see the one car in this episode that did not load was unfortunately the number 18 of Kyle Busch. There's always seeming to be one car that doesn't load every race I do, but fortunately it's not like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cars instead, which it could be at some point, but we'll have to basically reset the race over and over again until you get as many cars to load in as you possibly can. But it's already looking like we got some strong Toyotas in the field. Bell as well as Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch up here in the mix as well, and then you got the Hendrick force of Elliott, Tyler Reddick, Kyle Larson, William Byron, Alex Bowman in the background, as well as Bubba Wallace and Martin Truex Jr. trying to move their way forwards. Now for myself, it was actually a terrible start. I was embarrassed. It was one lap down, a lap and a half down, and I went from P26 down to P30. It was not looking very good for myself here. As you can see, the battle's happening throughout the field. There you see Ryan Preece in the number 41. Could this be his final race in that 41 car? We'll have to wait and see. Stuart Haas could be impressed with Preece today, where they decided not put Riley Herbst in that car for the next 2 races, and instead maybe put the Ryan Preece in that 41 car full time for the rest of the season and declare him for Cup Series points and try to put him on a playoff run. You never know what's going to happen. We'll have to stay tuned going into the next episode. So like I said there, stay tuned. In the next episode, you'll have to wait and see what is happening, and Stuart Haas could be subject to some more news potentially down the line. So stay tuned on that. Now for myself here, like I said, not a good start. We were down to in the 30s, P32 at this point here. As you can see me comparing lap times with drivers around me there on that little lap info on the steering wheel there. The car, it didn't feel bad. It just felt kind of slow, basically, is all it was here. And you can certainly see that there. The 7 of Corey LaJoie struggling here in stage 1. I forgot to mention the stage lengths, but basically stage 1 is coming to a close at the end of lap 22, and stage 2 is going to come to a close, I think it's at the end of lap 45. As you can see, it's now making continuous passes here about lap 8, 9, 10, and all of a sudden we were getting on a bit of a roll here now alongside fellow rookie of Jay Cook for Colleague Racing, full time in the 16. We passed him, and now we're up into the top 25, and now here we are continuing to try and make passes on William Byron, who's struggling quite a bit here now midway through stage 1. Denny Hamlin still out in front over that number 1 of Chastain, and Ryan Blaney. Chase Elliott, who's been strong all first 2 races complete so far, and here he is in the top 5 again, and Kyle Larson as well, a force to be reckoned with, and Ryan Preece having a very solid currently run here in Las Vegas. As you can see, myself continuing to battle with other drivers. Here's a fellow rookie of Austin Cindric on my outside, and Austin Cindric was originally lined up to run this 21 car before, of course, Brad Keselowski announced he would be leaving to go to RFK and be a co-owner there for Rush Fenway Keselowski Racing, and that's what opened the door for myself to be in this 21 car. Harrison Burton, by the way, does have a future in this career mode, and you might even see him part-time throughout this current season here. Now, as you can see, though, towards the end of the stage, about 5 laps ago, I'm starting to lose grip. I'm starting to slip and slide around, and I was pushing pretty hard here late in this stage because I felt like I had an advantage. I was starting to make some forward movement, but then all of a sudden I couldn't get through a corner without slipping and sliding. You can see through turn 1 and 2 right here with 3 laps to go, I'm just slipping on the exit of the corner. So I went up to the outside trying to hold on because it felt a little bit safer, but then I actually get into the wall in turn 3, and that's going to give up 3-4 positions as well. So things kind of going a downfall here at the end of this first and opening stage, and we were back down to basically where we qualified in this 25th, 26th area. So it wasn't looking very good, and I was just need to save my tires a little bit better, was kind of the feeling I actually had there. Denny Hamlin, though, leading the way through turn 3, out of turn 4, down the front straightaway. It's going to be Hamlin getting his first stage win of the season, a playoff point there to the FedEx Toyota Camry driver Ross Chastain in his debut season with Trackhouse. Is currently P2 there. As you can see, the rest of the top 10 cross the line, and of course you could imagine everybody coming into the pit lane here. This time we would see a little bit more drivers than usual pit. All the leaders come in this time, but I would expect somebody's probably going to stay out, and I can confirm Michael McDowell, of all people, remained on the racetrack. So not any different fuel strategy this time, and we hope we don't see that today because it seems to have been causing issues so far when you see 2 split strategies, and I'm thinking in the future of actually giving the drivers more fuel so we don't have these cars running out of fuel and causing cautions because they can't get to the pit lane. You can see, speaking of pit issues, though, I missed my pit box there trying to avoid the 38 fellow rookie of Todd Gilliland here. So 2 rookies nearly coming together there in this battle for Rookie of the Year. But Denny Hamlin, your stage 1 winner here from Las Vegas. We are ready to go green there. You see the actual clash location from earlier in the career mode a few episodes ago. That was the Las Vegas Bull Ring, so it's just literally outside of Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and that's where you saw this Cup field at earlier there, fighting it out in the preseason. Now, as we were ready to get underway for stage 2, and about the same amount of laps here, just a tiny bit less of green flag racing in stage 2. Michael McDowell, who stayed out on the track, is going to be leading this field into turn 1. However, we do know he is going to have to pit momentarily, or should I say, at least he's going to have to attempt to try and pit, because we've seen time and time again they will not pit and then they will stay out and cause a caution because they couldn't get down to the inside. But that's going to hurt Denny Hamlin quite significantly, and open the door wide open for Hamlin's employee of Bubba Wallace's teammate of Truex, and most importantly Ross Chastain, who takes the lead of this race for the first time in his Trackhouse Racing career. And look at the outside line that's getting stacked up. It looks like scenes out of NR 2003 AI, which is the same AI that iRacing, of course, has made, because it was made by iRacing in NR 2003. But you can see right there, Eric Almirola a little bit out of shape right there in that number 10 car, and look at this absolute just swarm of cars right here. Harvick, Almirola, Briscoe, Suarez, Bell, Haley, Logano, Ty Dillon, Alex Bowman, William Byron, all in the mix as well. And fortunately, I wasn't too much a part of it, but on the other unfortunate part was I was actually behind it, so I wanted to be right up there in the mix. But you can see Bubba Wallace, Martin Truex Jr., and Kyle Larson all going past the number 1 of Ross Chastain right there. So Chastain doesn't have the most speed in that number 1 Advent Health machine today, but certainly would not write him off later in this race, because Chastain very good at these mile-and-a-half tracks. Trackhouse racing in general, really good at the mile-and-a-halves. You've seen Daniel Suarez this year in real life really excel as well at the mile-and-a-halves, as well as the road courses, which both of those combined take up a large portion of the season. No wonder Daniel Suarez is having a career year, when of course he's been running his best at the mile-and-a-halves as well as the road courses now. As you continue, I continue here trying to march my way through the field there. We were set back because of that pit issue there in the avoidance with Todd Gilliland, so we had some work to do as we were now passing the 43 of Eric Jones. This race certainly hasn't gone the way we would have preferred it to so far. I feel like we got some top 15 speed in this car. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to quite showcase it yet. There's smoke up ahead. Caution's going to come out as we head down into turn 1. 2 cars crashing there. Stenhouse is going to get involved. That's Keselowski and Kyle Busch who have crashed. Keselowski comes to a complete stop, and here's a look at what happened. He makes contact with Kyle Busch in turn 1. Oh my goodness, a huge crash right there. Violent accident, tolling clearly out of that number 6 car. Kyle Busch and Keselowski, very heavy damage. Let's listen to the radio call there, live from the race from Alan.
Big crash. Keselowski and Kyle Busch get into it. Keselowski doesn't know what happened. This might have just turned into a fuel mileage race.
On board with Brad Keselowski after the call from Alan there from the live moment of the accident. I mean, Keselowski is saying on the radio, as you can see right there, he simply has no clue what in the world just happened right there. I don't even think Kyle Busch knows what happened. Just a weird moment, and it sure enough is turning into a fuel mileage deal here, because you can see a lot of cars stay out on the track. I decided to come into the pit lane because that seems to be the trend that's been, you could say, working so far in this career mode. You also need to find some kind of advantage here, so I decided to take those 4 fresh tires and see if I could slice my way through the field, because we only had a couple laps sprint remaining here in stage 2, so we didn't have much time to get things done. Martin Truex Jr. was looking like it was going to be a cruise to a stage 2 victory for that number 19 Bass Pro Shops machine, and sorry, it's only a 2-lap dash here actually in stage 2 remaining. Not it wasn't coming to an end on the end of lap 45. It was coming to the end at the end of lap 42, so we continued down into turn 3 trying to get the elbows down. I was completely planning to potentially pit again here at the end of stage 2, just to make sure we can get more tires, as well as make sure we're in the best fuel situation possible, but just try to gain as much track position as we can here on the final lap down into turn 3 in the middle here between the 48 of Briscoe, Logano as well, getting those elbows out. Ty Dillon gets past, but it's Martin Truex Jr. He's going to come through to win stage 2 over Chase Elliott, Ross Chastain, Reddick, and Hamlin, who's had a very nice rebound after being held up behind that 34 of Michael McDowell. As you can see, everybody trying to sort it all out there, and you can see, look at this. The same lap, everybody's coming into the pits. Surprisingly, Truex on back through to Ty Dillon and Cook. All stay out, and then more cars stay out, actually. Very, very baffling calls there from those drivers to remain on the racetrack. Ready to go green for stage 3. There you see the top 10 from stage 2 and the Las Vegas background there. You can see one of them little go-kart circuits there just on the outside of the track. There's so much racing in this area. You got an oval, you got a go-kart circuit, you got a little bit of a dirt bike circuit, as well as the Las Vegas bull ring, and there's even a drag strip. If you want racing, Las Vegas really is the place to go to here as this third and final stage gets underway. Martin Truex Jr. and a lot of drivers here on a very very different feel strategy. Now, you did see, like we said, a lot of cars stayed out there at the end of stage 2, but do keep in mind on that caution with Kozlowski and Kyle Busch, a bunch of cars still did come into the pit lane as well. So there's still two different strategies going on once again, and we're a part of the, in my opinion, better strategy, the strategy that allows us to go longer than these drivers up front. However, they can, this strategy here, the top, I would say 20 cars, they can make it on one stop. However, the issue is they pit, they will lose a lap, and if one of the cars on that strategy runs out of fuel, remains on the racetrack, caution comes out, they're trapped a lap down, they get the wave around, they have to go to the back anyway, so they will not be able to recover likely with the amount of laps they'll have left. And anybody that's already pitted recently, including myself, we will have a massive advantage because we'll be the one on the lead lap, trapping them a lap down if that caution comes out. Chase Elliott to the lead of this race. Is he going to get win number 2 in just the first 3 races of the season already here? It's been a very strong start. We had a little bit of beef with him in the Daytona 500, then he went on to win, and thankfully, you know, our Wood Brothers Racing car is not quick enough to fight Chase Elliott, so we don't have to worry about having more beef with him. And there it is, 23 to go. Ross Chastain as well as Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin into the pit lane. So there we go. The pit cycle is kicking off for that first strategy here down into turn 3, 22 laps to go. Everybody in front of us just about. It looks like they're trying to make it into the pits. We're to the back of the 10 of Almirola. We're running into the side of him. Contact there. We save it. He's going to clip us in the right rear. I'm trying to not go into the pit lane, and we come back onto the track. I have no idea what he was doing. He never gave me a hand signal or anything. There you hear it. I never got a signal that Almirola was pitting there, so I didn't have enough time to react here. Coming to now 20 laps to go. You see it up ahead. There's cars slowing. I think we do have that car out of field. It's Kevin Harvick in the number 4, who's way off the pace. Look at the track position I just gained, by the way. But I think we're about to get a caution, and all those drivers that pitted, they're going to be trapped a lap down. They're going to be forced into a wave around. Harvick out of turn 2, sure enough, would come to a complete stop. The caution would fly, and that would benefit everyone that did not pit yet here, including myself. And suddenly this day that we were running about 20th to 25th has turned into a potential top 10. We would come in, top up on fuel, put 4 fresh tires on it, and we still get to start ahead of everybody that pitted because they have to take the wave around. A couple cars went a couple laps down, so there is still some cars a lap down. So a bit of confusion in this running order, but you can see up front, Tyler Reddick, he was at the front of the grid, but he was actually a lucky dog, so he's going to go around, and that actually means Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney as well, in that number 12 has to go around to catch up. So Joey Logano on back in that frame right there, other than Daniel Suarez, were all on the lead lap. So eventually we would line up around 10th-ish place, basically, for this restart. Chase Elliott for the second race in a row, running so good. He was one of the drivers that actually was 2 laps down somehow, so he had to get an extra lap back. He was still scored 1 lap down as we would get back underway, and we see once again fuel confusion come into the mix, and this has put us you know, in towards a top 10 position here with these final 12 laps underway. But this is exactly why I'm looking at changing the fuel cell and how much you can put in, because it creates strategy, which is great. However, it's not great if we have cars stopping on the track every race, and that is the 3rd race that has happened, but this time it really shook things up again. So I think we're going to change it around going into Phoenix, and stay tuned on that. We'll definitely, like I said, probably be making changes. But here this is with 9 laps to go, and now we are hugely benefiting from what happened, and now we're actually about to make a pass on part-time driver right there, number 77 Spire Motorsports, Landon Castle, and this would be to put ourselves in the top 10. BJ McLeod, by the way, is currently running in 9th place, and to my surprise, I didn't have enough pace to run him down. He was actually pulling away from me. Here comes Austin Centric up my inside. This was not for position. He was another driver trapped a lap down along with Daniel Suarez, and William Byron was the first one trying to run me down for position, but we come through to these final couple of laps, 2 to go, approaching this final lap here from Las Vegas at Motor Speedway. And we really benefited by just being on the better strategy because we did not have a top 10 car here today, and it's the white flag in the air. Joey Logano as well, taking the most advantage of anybody. He is about to win himself into the playoffs here potentially in Las Vegas now. Suarez and Byron fight behind. Byron's trying to run me down to get into the top 10. I'm trying to hold on to a top 10 down this back straightaway. Up front, it's looking like it's going to be all Joey Logano on the exit of turn 4.
Logano gambles with fuel mileage and steals the win in the Nevada desert. Joey Logano wins Las Vegas.
Just short for the number 14 of Chase Briscoe. Rookies up here in the top 10 as well, by the way. Not only did we get the top 10 as a rookie, but so did Todd Gilliland, who got a top 3, and Jay Cook as well in the top 10, P10 for us here in Vegas we will gladly take it. And you'll see the whole finishing order. You can already see some of it on the top leaderboard there, but you'll see it all right here. Scroll across your screen. But you know, like I said, a weird dynamic with the field strategy, field mileage, and cars running out of field causing issues. I think in the next episode, starting in Phoenix, to finish off the West Coast swing, we're gonna make some changes to the amounts of fuel in the cars that will hopefully combat that issue nicely there. But overall, a nice day. We'll get a points update starting in the next episode, plus Xfinity and trucks as well. But that is going to wrap it up here after a wild Las Vegas race, a heavy crash for Keselowski and Kyle Busch, and those points they lost right there could be the difference makers later in the regular season, going into that Daytona regular season finale, especially if they have rough seasons. But you never know what's going to happen. If you guys enjoyed, you know what to do. That's going to do it for me. We continue our road trip on this West Coast swing and head to Phoenix, Arizona. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.